this joystick journeyman, is a titan of the touchscreen who claims his new venture Warp has over 300 years of combined game executive experience plus over 10 feet of beard to match. I don't want to know what that looks like. He's the bullet hell baron, the virtuoso of the void. It's Matthew Buxton.
Hey man, happy to be up here. It's like what, 2 years now, gamified. And yeah, just it's going to be a good one. So let's get into it. We've got a lot of hot takes that have been swimming around the timeline about games. Are they still good? Do people still love us? Let's see.
Do people even like gaming? Does anybody game anymore? Has anybody gamed this month? Who knows? Up next,
Haven't got time, man.
he's the man who can deadlift a dragon while debugging a dungeon crawler. It's the pixel-powered presence of a Web3 warrior and an indie game enthusiast. The back-to-back silver medalist in Super Smash Bros. From AVAX. It's Big Wills.
Every time you say silver medalist, I relive both of those traumas independently. So thank you, Sam. Good to be here.
I'm sorry to do that to you. It's part of the lore. It's what makes you. Up next, from crafting compelling content to catapulting Web3 gaming to new heights, he's the Sultan of Strategy, the Czar of Creativity, the Titan of the Tokenomics. It's the real Jonah Blake.
I am here to destroy valuations.
But not your own projects, right?
I'll destroy theirs too. I'm happy to do it.
Oh no, somebody take the mic away. Up next, he's the alpha and the omega of Web3 gaming. Where others chase profits, this patron leads packs of peerless pooches to their inevitable future by making sure they always are ready up on Monday mornings. He's the charismatic curator of canines, the daddy of the doggos. It's Peyton Okalanika Pavainu.
There you go, brother. Simplified was the Okalani Cup of Vainui Club here. It was a little bit of a rusty, but this time it was perfect. Thank you so much, brother. Excited to be here and excited for a panel talking about freaking Web3 gaming.
I just needed a tiny bit of practice, just that one quick session.
My ancestral roots thought you were telling me to get in the train. I was confused for a second.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that Sam was actually racist for a long time. He's like, dude, is he really like saying this about like Peyton? Like that's kind of just like jacked up. Like I know he's Hawaiian, but like, come on now, Sam. There's got to be better decency. We're like, no, that's my full last name, and it's a long one.
Thank you for dispelling the rumors that I'm a closet racist that likes to out it during gamified introductions. Appreciate that. Also, just real quick shout out to Grid Network. They gave us another node to give away. I'll give you guys a little bit more information on that. But if you guys want to drop some comments, give us a retweet, do all that good stuff for your chance to win one of those nodes. Up next, from battling blazes to bolstering businesses, this former firefighter has seamlessly shifted from the scorching scene to the sophisticated sectors of scaling startups. He's a connoisseur of controversy, yet enlightening. He might be perpetually second place in MVP voting, but he's still the golden god. It's Jerry Singer.
Yeah, I think I've won the most MVPs on show history, just for the record. And thank you for not
You've
calling
also
me.
been on as many shows in shows history as well. So
It's all about the raw stats, Peyton. It's not about percentages.
They don't ask how; they just ask how many.
yeah.
we got a freaking
That's
Russell
true.
Westbrook, a freaking gamified here.
I'm putting up triple doubles, baby. Thank you for not calling me the silver god like Wills. I'm not built for second place. I'm built for eating T-bone steaks and lifting barbell plates.
Bro, 1v1 right now.
Can we
He's
live
so
stream on
talented now,
Abstract?
Sam, that he's like literally trying to weave in a future intro by his lines right now. This is how much he's been on this show.
I'm right. It's all logging, dude. It's all etching into my brain. The neurons are forging as we speak. This next esports extraordinary isn't just a master of the mouse and keyboard. He's also the brains behind Wolfstack, the tax software that's taken a bite out of the competition. Get ready to meet the headshot hero, the Counter-Strike king, the Vayner Sports signed. It's Bryson.
Yo, I am happy to be back. One of the best shows that I've ever seen, and probably the best on Web3 gaming. Sam, thank you for having me. I'm like Jonah. I'm here to just shake some shit up, but I just realized I was today years old when I found out that there are content creators that are using AI reply guys on their account, and I am stunned.
Hunter in shambles. Bryson is too. Add him to the list. It's dangerous out there. You never know who you're actually talking to on the timeline. We used to just have interns do it, but I guess now it's just AI. If you can afford the Twitter API though, just to be your reply guy though, congratulations. You're doing better than most of us in this market. Up next, from rocking the stage with his band to revolutionizing bartering with his app Buns, he's always been a pioneer. He's the master of the meta, the commander of the cards, and the king of cool with 3 different games come to blockchain. From Parallel, it's Koji.
What's up, man? I'm gonna have to get somebody to do a recount. Stop the steal, Jerry. I feel like I got more MVPs than that fucking guy.
Dude, this Canadian coming and using American terms all the time is pissing me off.
Dude, I
Well,
straight up,
soon it's just going to be America.
I actually will spend the money to pay somebody to go listen to the last like 20 episodes or however long it's been that we've been doing MVPs just to prove that it wasn't Jerry with the most. Because there's no way, dude. There's no way.
Jesus. This is Kendrick Lamar levels of pettiness. I got some fucking haters on the panel today.
We're all juiced up. We're all juiced up. It's been 2 years, 104 episodes of Gamified, 2 full years of an episode every single Wednesday. It's got us a little hyphy mixed with the bearish sentiment around my beloved Web3 gaming. But this man has been conquering the corporate colossuses from Alibaba, mentoring the media magicians at Team Liquid, and pulling the prodigies at Poker Stars up the podium. And this prince has persuaded businesses and governments alike along the way. He's a risk taker, a revolutionary, a visionary with a vendetta from angry Yakuza girlfriend and straight from Hong Kong. It's Senjen.
Yo, what's up? I am struggling. I'm in between sober, drunk, and hangover, but I am here ready to, I don't know, we'll see if I make it.
Happy 2 years to you too, Sinjin.
We call it the sweet spot, Sinjin, where you're talking about the holy trinity being right in the middle. That's the sweet spot. So lock in. You're perfect for today's show. And of course, leaping from the lush depths of the Lizard Labs, it's the lean green space hosting machine weighing in at a whopping 2.4 pounds. Put your claws together. It's the little lizard legend. It's Lambs.
GM, man, I didn't even click that episode 104 was 2 year anniversary. 52 times 2, and math is hard until Sinjin posted that tweet earlier. But yeah, what a time to be alive, and what a perfect episode to have a Web3 gaming focused show with just Web3 topics all across the board. Yeah, can't believe it's been 2 years. What a trip.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting all sappy and doing more stuff, but we also kind of celebrated the 100th as if it was the 2 years. So I figured this one would just be for the squad. Ceremonially in my heart, it is special because Lems, we've been grinding it out since the very beginning together. So you and I can like light a little candle, put it on a cupcake, and blow it out ourselves later. Or something. I don't know. We'll find a way to celebrate.
Oh, what a 2 years. How far we've all come. Yeah, good job, everybody.
Oh man, prepare for a cryogenic kickoff with a colossal shout out to our cutting edge comrades, the official chain of Gamify. That's right, it's Avalanche. These Sub-Zero savants recently announced an $100 million AI fund. They also brought Call of Duty world champion Scump off the grid with his new in-game skin. They're not just the architects of the blockchain blizzard, they're also the frost-forged foundation for the future of finance and, of course, the official chain of Gamified. This next product is bending the rules and building bridges between blockchain and glorious gameplay. They're the architects of also making products like Summon, the magic formula that keeps players coming back for more. Hyperplay, the portal for instant Web3 access, but without the funless friction. And World Builder, the sandbox where in-game economies are engineered to perfection. Now migrating from ZK Sync, these ultimate tools for creators enable game-changing growth by making Web3 gaming more accessible, more engaging, and more fun than ever. Big shout out to Game 7 for being the official infrastructure of Gamified. And attention, all astronauts and asteroid aficionados, get ready to blast off with Star Atlas, the official game of Gamified, and its sensational preseason spectacular. Soon you'll be able to plunge into a galaxy of captivating content, explore exotic exoplanets, engage in exhilarating expeditions, and experience the evolution of gaming graphics that'll redefine the cosmos. Get a game key to the preseason by joining the Star Atlas Discord. Also, got to give a quick shout out. Knock, unfortunately, was down bad. That flu that's going around that seems to have everybody in shambles. Knock is also affected. We're thinking of you, buddy. Hope you feel better soon. And of course, gamers are taking control with Grid Network. Their Web3 credit packs are live on Amazon. They collaborated with Reddit on their collectible avatars, and a huge node sale is dropping later this month. They also gave away 100 nodes on Twitch, which was crazy. Don't miss your shot. Tap the whitelist form in their bio, Grid spelled with a 1, by the way, and use the code WolvesDAO to lock in with the boys. We'll be giving away one of those nodes later today. Bullish or bullshit, though, we're jumping in with topic number 1. Zed Run is shutting down, but also simultaneously launching Zed Champions, which seems to be the same thing, for lack of a better way of putting it. Players will have a month following Zed Run's closure to claim, buy, or trade their reward badges. These badges will carry over to Zed Champions, where they will provide eligibility for obtaining new horses. However, the horse NFTs from Zed Run don't appear to transfer to the new game, meaning players will have to start fresh in terms of their assets, which is neither necessarily a good or a bad thing, I guess. Quote, Zed Champions is the next step in evolution of Zed Run, where your racing, breeding, strategic decisions paved the way for your horse's legendary status, unquote. That's from the team. All this just kind of sounds like the original game. Bullish or bullshit on the retooling of this Zed franchise. Let's go over to Lems and then we'll tag in Koji.
All right, I'll say first that I'm not super familiar with Zedrun. I've never held assets, but the whole thing kind of smells like bullshit to me. There is not very clear info on whether people are going to get to keep their assets. I saw something about a migration. They said something about listening to feedback. There seems to be a big disconnect. The comments were super toxic on basically people being like, RIP all my old assets. And I could maybe understand if they were building a very different game and the assets didn't really make sense in there. But when it looks like they're basically reskinning the same thing and maybe changing it slightly and then saying like, too bad, so sad, and you got to get new assets, feels pretty bad. Maybe I'm wrong and there is like some kind of migration happening and people can move their stuff over. Then it won't be so bad. But if you have to basically start from scratch and go buy a bunch of stuff again for basically the same game, pretty shitty situation.
I'm inclined to agree. Koji, are you?
Bullish, man. Bullish. It just means we're up to our old shenanigans again, motherfuckers. Like here
Those
here we
crazy
go.
kids.
You know? The playground is open. Let's get ready to play. You know what I'm saying? Like and the thing is like anyone like there's definitely gonna be people who are like, I can make some money off whatever shenanigans are happening here, and they're gonna do it. And that's gonna just bring more people to be like, well, maybe I should wager in the crypto casino or whatever. So I'm bullish. Let's bring back all the fucking nonsense. I used to be a hater. I used to say like fuck all that stuff. Now I'm all in. I'm like, let's go crazy, man. Everyone lose your shirts and give them to me. That's how I feel. Bullish.
I look forward to Parallel's 94th NFT collection coming in 2030. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Let's go to Sinjin before he passes out, and then we'll tag in Jonah Blake.
Yeah, I think it's an unfortunate bullshit situation in the sense that like, let's say you have these assets and you have a game, it's done, it kind of works, and then your economy falls off, and it's exposed as a Ponzi. It is like, what do you do? Well, if you've made revenue and you want to reset the system in an open economy, what would you do? You'd buy back your tokens and kind of reset things. Like bearing that, I mean, this is kind of the only option to kind of recycle things, which kind of shows like how fucked up it all is. It also shows the danger of creating an unsustainable system and then looking at the assets and saying like, what are we going to do with it? I don't know how it's going to work out. I mean, maybe they added in more burning mechanisms, kind of missing the entire point of restructuring everything. But I wish the holders the best and the project the best. Whether it's going to be another bullshit run, who knows? But it's not looking good.
Yeah, Zed Run, for anybody unfamiliar, was one of the early players coming in Web3 gaming that was hot on Becker's radar, had a lot of early success. I certainly am hoping for the best for them as well, but only if it's sustainable and not doing wrong by the people that came before them. Let's go over to Jonah Blake.
Bullish and bearish. Bullish for the same reason as Koji. I also think like if you're on their side, it's how do you reset the game because they just have so much technical debt on the last game. I think bearish because there's probably a bunch of levers they could have pulled to make this work. Like they could have done a cumulative point score where like whatever you collected prior, you cash in those points and then you get like a slightly stronger horse on the outset of the sequel. Like not one that makes it completely unfair, but one where we go, hey, we valued the money that you gave us in the last game. We value what you're doing here. We want you back. And we need to reset this so we get new players and new eyes, which is good for you. Like, I just think it's a comms issue plus like a little token of gratitude issue, and they could have treated it like any other pre-order on Steam where they just got some extra shit. So that's it's kind of bearish they didn't think that through, which means they definitely don't care about their users. Um, yeah, I mean the other part that's bullish is the reality is our audience is tapped out, but I would bet that Zed Run is gonna do very well if they market properly on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, because this is the type of game that they'll pick up. It's even the type of game, quite frankly, that like Dave Portnoy would pick up. Like I could see him buying a fucking horse on Zed Run because they had Budweiser prior and NASCAR, and you've got the fucking Kraken brand and Dave Portnoy, and sports people go Budweiser. Oh, okay, it's got Budweiser. It must be a real game. So I think as much as we want to shit on them, they might actually do well if the game's good.
Yeah, it's a great point. There's always the possibility, especially whenever the value proposition is that easy. Just like, DraftKings or whatever. You make it daily fantasy, it's like one click betting or whatever, and then before you know it, people are able to pick it up and it kind of goes crazy. Let's go over to Koji again, who put the pan back up, and then we'll go to Peyton.
Yeah, I mean, two things. Obviously, I'm like sometimes overly sarcastic, but more importantly, I think that it actually might do well because I mean all the things that Jonah just said, but you also have to remember like these guys uh, have been through the ringer already, and they're still here. It's not like they're like, hey, we rugged, and now these guys who rugged are like starting this whole new company under anonymous whatever. Like, no, no, no. They're like they have the lessons they learned. They're keeping the name. Well, I mean, not keeping the name, but you know what I mean. Like the cachet is still there, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna take everything that we all the takeaways from project number one and funnel them into project number two, and like there's not that many teams that can say that they have the level of experience that these guys had. Now, I'm not suggesting this is not financial advice, and I actually think it's like uh, a scary prospect, and I wouldn't touch it. But I mean, that's the argument to be made, really.
Yeah, minus I guess the name change. This is what we've seen from a ton of founders that later went on to be lauded. I mean, Zeneca, right? Like did two or three different projects and then eventually gets to something that ends up being more sustainable and successful than the previous things. Let's go over to Matthew Buxton and we'll tag in Jerry. Oh, sorry. I think I front ran. I think I said I was going to go to Peyton. Let's go to Peyton, then we'll
Yeah,
tag in Matt.
yeah, you did. Sorry, that's why I was like couldn't unmute in time. All right, go for it.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Sam. When it comes to like the Zed Run too, I did read the article as well. So I think there is also some carryover for rewards. I think it's under the transition and claiming rewards. So it says here when Zed Run sunsets, the Zed.run site will become the place to claim your rewards. The claim site will be open for just over a month, giving stable owners plenty of time to claim, trade, buy, or sell their reward badges. And then once the claim site closes, Zed Champions will launch, and then race breeding horses will be airdropped to the owners of the reward badges. And so I do think that there is some type of reward mechanism for the old specific ones. I think this is a really good way to, I guess, shake out the people that are not currently active. So you give a month of the people that have been active and then they get put over. It would be cool to like have like a standing specific reward structure in which that you own those specific horses. You can do that. We've seen this with Smite 1 and Smite 2, right? From like a gaming standpoint. We've seen this also for Warzone. I think Bryson, you've tweeted about it as well in terms of the carryover. Like Web3 does fix this in a capacity that like this is all receipts on the blockchain and you own them. So like if somebody, let's say that, Koji was somebody that was building different type of like another competitive platform, they could go and target all of these people on chain, right? Somewhat of a vampire attack. And so I do think that there is some cool benefits and like I guess ways in which that people can like I guess compete with Zedrun with people that might be a little bit more angry. But I do think that there is some reward mechanism to do that. And Smite and very it might be also very similar. I don't know actually like what they're doing in terms of an engine. Maybe the engine's changing a little bit. Like Smite 1 versus Smite 2, like it was such years in advance that like they can't carry over every single one of the purchases that like they had and they're going to slowly build them up. And so I do feel like this, and also I will say the same thing that we're kind of talking about now in terms of like the uprising of the community. Smite 1 and Smite 2 also had that, right? Smite 2 people were pissed. And so, yeah, and then also Warzone skins people were also pissed. But I like the Web3 version of this because you at least have receipts that other competitors can come in and try to get those users and bring them over to you know, their specific one.
Yeah, it's a great point. We're going to talk about a vampire attack of another kind in the second half of the show, which I'm excited for. But yeah, let's go to Matthew, then to Jerry to finish up the topic.
And to be honest, I am bullish on anyone who still has money at this point in the gaming cycle. Less and less has been invested over time. And to be honest, if you learn from your mistakes and you redo the game, of course you'll fail a little bit along the way. But I mean, anyone who's still keeping the lights on, not rugging, as was said before, and is actually trying to do something, I'm relatively bullish on them for carrying out. No, what do I like the game? Not really. Am I that interested in horses? It's not for me. But I guess that kind of game has a place, and it's better to do the same thing that you're good at better a second time. And just look at all of the franchise pumping in all of the game studios. Essentially, have one game and then pump that forever, or they buy another studio and then make that game as well. So if you do one game well enough that you have a market and an audience, you're probably best on sticking to that. I mean, I'd have been way more bearish or called bullshit if they'd have gone to a completely different genre that they know nothing about. So I'd say bullish on them for keeping the lights on and the doors open.
Wow, I really thought we would get a couple of muy caliente takes on this one. Jerry, are you gonna let it go without a little spice on this topic?
Um, I have to agree with my fellow panelists, which doesn't always happen. But I think we learned one thing. I'll give you a spicy take. Only about 10% of people who get sent information read it, because Peyton was the only one who clearly read the article and has answers to some of those things. So that's par for the course with Web3, baby. Yeah, I mean, I listen. I think I know the Zed team, pretty well. I know Near, who's like the CEO, pretty well. First introduced to them like back in the day by my friend Jaleel. So listen, Near hasn't been at the helm for the entirety of the life cycle of Zed Run. What is now becoming Zed Champions, and is known to be like a turnaround CEO and has an amazing background. So I think the interesting question to ask is, you know, how beholden are you to an initial roadmap if that roadmap isn't sustainable, right? And I think that's what was found out with Zed Run. Sinjin kind of talked about this, but like, as a holder or as somebody who's an investor, would you rather see them continue on a path that isn't working and isn't sustainable, or would you rather see them take a pivot into something that can work? And especially if that pivot is away from, the decisions that a past leadership team made that got them into trouble in the first place, right? So I think we all want to be a part of things early here, and we all love the concept of it in theory, but in practice, you're seeing it happen right now, and people are pissed off about it, and their old community is like is pretty toxic about the transition. So, listen, I think it's always bullish when better decisions are being made in the games industry, because that's rare for the games industry. If you guys know anything, like read a couple books about gaming, and you'll see so many failed companies and failed games that had so much promise that ended up not ever shipping because people stuck to the same stupid fucking path that got them there in the first place. Concord, right? We just talked about that for like an hour couple months ago, right? So I think if you're a fan of games and you're a fan of this industry and you want to see it succeed, you have to be bullish on them bringing in people who have a history of success and pivoting when they see no roadmap ahead or no way through the current on the current trajectory, and if they're honoring their holders, which, as Peyton said, they seem to be doing, then I think you kind of have to root for them in this scenario.
You're gonna be feasting on those words whenever the legendary Concord comeback happens, Jerry. Okay, just when it's Sony's day back in the sun, it'll be you.
Yeah, and maybe they'll put it on Sonium, and we'll all be happy, and it'll be the best game of all
When
time.
that happens, I'll finally be 6 feet tall.
Dude,
Um,
that would unironically be the craziest Web3 gaming headline of all time if they were like, "We're reviving Concord to put it on the blockchain," and just sold like a
I
hundred
would
thousand
quit. I
units.
would quit. I would quit this industry if that happened.
That might be the only thing that can get me to stop tweeting Web3 gaming is inevitable. that might set me off the edge. Oh man! All right, well. Right on cue, we're gonna move on to a great tweet out of Spark C, our resident head of research at the Wolves DAO. Agree or disagree with this tweet? Is it too early to judge the product market fit of Web3 gaming? He says, time for me to tap the sign again. You cannot judge the product market fit of crypto X gaming until crypto creates a complete and good game. Every thesis behind onboarding traditional gamers relies on this. Looking at our current crop of derivatives sorry, I think he has a typo here, are promising but incomplete games tells us nothing. End quote. Agree or disagree with Sparks' take that it's still too early to judge Web3 gaming as a whole because we don't have a good, I don't know, leader in the category? Matthew Buxton, over to you.
Well, I was looking into this. Apparently, the total market cap of Web3 gaming is around about 20 billion, which puts us on a par with EA. Um, that's apparently. However, it hasn't made any profit, which is crazy. And you think something like CD Projekt Red, $4 billion games company, has probably made more money in the last year on selling games that have been released for many years than we ever have. I think it's it's a weird one. It's kind of too early to say it as a thesis is right or wrong. But then again, we have had more than enough money to make good games, and we have failed spectacularly in that. I mean, there are on average, let's just say you're making a game at Rovio, 3 million for a top of the line mobile game, and we were kind of cheap. Is generally the expected budget. Many studios raised far more than that to make less games, to make smaller games, to make almost mini games, and then stick tokens and stuff on it. I think I think it was really difficult to follow in the wake of Axie and to sort of raise money, especially if you're coming in from Web 2 and be told this is the way things work, and sort of look at the documents and think this is never going to work, and people are like, yes, it will. And a lot of people went down that path. So too early to say, but God, have we been given the right amount of money to have actually made a success? If Web2 gaming studios got the amount of money that was injected in 21 and 2020, there would be a lot more good games out there now than there are. So I think we kind of squandered what we had, and we kind of deserve to still be in the pre-inevitable state. We'll get there eventually, though. I'm pretty sure.
I would push back a little bit on that, Matthew Bucks. I mean, we've made a lot of profit. We just gave it all to Yuga during an other deed mint that turned out to be dog shit. But we made plenty of money. There's been
Yeah, well, the
opportunity.
products didn't, like the people gambling on it did. And
That
that's
was
slightly
no, that was
different.
the
If you look at
product.
it as a VC redistribution system to basically giving all of the VC money to LATAM and Southeast Asia, it's been fantastic. It worked better than communism.
It works better than communism. Is a
Jesus
wild line.
Christ.
That is a wild line. All right, we're gonna move on. Sinjin, what say you? Is it too early to judge the product's market fit of Web3 gaming?
I think product market fit is something that a lot of VCs throw around and they don't really get it for gaming because they look at it as a kind of monolithic kind of like entity where, was there product market fit with play to earn Ponzi's? Absolutely. Was there product market fit for like the speculation game on, where gaming NFTs going to provide value during TG? Absolutely. Right. But if you're talking about like product market fit for a game, fundamentally, like what that is like, is the game fun for whoever it's fun for, right? And then you're getting into the actual building of it. And then, for in terms of market adoption, if the game is good enough, and like, do you have like the acquisition and distribution channels to make it work at like a good cost basis per, user acquisition, right? And so like, if the games really are not competitive on like just, a fun basis yet, because, good games, original games take time and not just a clone, right? Yeah. So the product market fit there hasn't worked. But what is this kind of like we've bounced from kind of like what the idea of product market fit is, we've bounced from that, from like play to earn to like whatever speculative NFTs and so on and so forth. So if the narrative now has kind of turned to like, okay, product market fit in terms of Web3 games are like, are they actually good and do they have a market that's really there, and do we have distribution channels? No, we're not there yet because that's the kind of more long-term timeline that's always been there because games take time to develop. Do I think we are going to get there? I think so, but then again, like if you really look at it, like if the product market fit and the benefit comes from like whatever, let's say now open economy, right? Then certain genres obviously will like lend themselves more to that, like an MMO or like a core meta game kind of structured, right? But other games that don't have like a built-in actual like open economy or even any kind of in-game economy structure, like will they have product market fit? Will they be able to sell skins and make something of that are NFTs if the game isn't uber popular like Counter-Strike? Well, obviously not. So I know jury's kind of still out.
Great takes from Sinjin. All right, to the patron of pooches, Big Peyton, and then to Koji.
Yeah, I think we actually just had like a question of the week for kind of like this topic a little bit of like, how do we figure out like product market fit? I think it's too early to tell. I think we're in a very I hard agree with Matthew because like we're in a weird like specific state that VC money is actually like drying out. But I also think that we gave VC money to like a lot of Web 2 builders coming into Web 3 that didn't natively understand Web 3. And like, if you gave it to people, they, like for example, I've actually worked for a lot of them, right? Like Azra, Japanese Ascension, all these specific ones. And whenever I like worked for these specific companies, like it was very much like a Web 2 specific mindset, not really trying to solve like a thing. Like I was like the lowest person and or not at Champions, but like at Azra, I was like the lowest on the org chart when it comes to like the person, and I probably knew the most about Web3 in terms of like NFTs, like metadata and all that specific stuff. And they weren't really trying to solve problems using the specific tech or like cool ways in which that they can do user acquisition through metadata or any of that specific stuff. They were definitely just using playbooks. And I think one of the issues I think with people coming in from Web 2 is that their Web 2 is so mature in terms of the playbooks. You run the specific ads, you get very slim margins in terms of all that stuff. You publish on Steam, you put your wish list out for a whole year, you do the whole marketing campaign in terms of like all that specific stuff. And not just that, you have a whole infrastructure suite as well, like App Annie and a whole bunch of things that like help you in terms of like being able to do that. Versus like you take that person that like is very used to that environment of being like, I know how to turn all these knobs and get a result that I have at the end, or at least pretty accurate, and you put them into a space that's like Web 3, bro, they're like, what the frick is going on here? Like, what is this? Like, what's AlphaBot? Like, what's all this crap? Like, what is all this things? And like, I think that's like where it ended up becoming, and then they're the ones that are chasing metas, right? And that's whenever they're chain hopping and they're just trying to keep up because they don't fully understand natively like what it is necessarily. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like my specific like take on it as well. And then this is also like working for like the game studios as well in the last 3 years.
Poor Yap, I see him in the comments saying, "What the fuck product are you guys talking about?" I think he's referencing the last topic. We were talking about Zed Run, which is like a horse gamified, whatever. Koji, over to you. Is it too early to judge the product market fit of Web3 gaming, or do you know? Do you know if we have it or not?
Yeah, it's definitely too early. It's definitely too early. I mean, we think like okay. Let me just put it this way: we at Parallel have been building in the space since let's say 2021, and people are like, "Oh, you've been around forever." Like, fuck, that's no time at all. Like game studios, uh, younger or older than us, excuse me, have like probably their first project has maybe been moderately successful or not at all successful. They learn from those mistakes. They make other games, and the reason I put up my hand though is I want to push back on the argument that Matthew made. Not, I agree with most of it, but the idea that we have the money and we haven't been able to do anything, like money is only a catalyst, right? Like you don't just like. Uh, Money doesn't do it by itself. You need a good idea and you need to be able to sort of foster that good idea. And you also need time. Like, no matter how much money you have, you can't build an entire house. Like, you can speed up the process of building a house from like a year to 6 months, but you can't build an entire house in a day. And so I think that like people overinflate the idea that like money will help you solve every problem. It won't. I also think that like part of the issue, right, is we're not just talking about making a good game and then having some of those assets in the game be on chain. Like that's not enough for most people. I think we need to like the games need to be built to integrate blockchain in a way that's interesting and novel. And it's not just like, hey, you have this skin and you can also trade it with this other guy. Like it's fine, but do people really care about that? I don't know. I think that like we need to be smarter than that, and we haven't really come up with uh the ultimate use case for blockchain and gaming yet. And I think that's the problem, right? Like we need more time, more experimentation, more everything to really get to how can we leverage this really to its fullest extent. Like obviously the economy part is very important, and I think that almost everyone on the stage has done a great job of it. And we're trying to learn from those things too. But I don't know that anyone solved it. I think we need more time, more dabbling, and to be like,
oh, you know, we people have been trying to do this for like, even, let's just say, let's be generous and say 5 years. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Koji, just to double click on that, and maybe this reference is too like specific for you to be able. You're a pretty young guy too. Is there something whenever you think about like the dot-com boom? Do you think that it took more than 5 years for them to go like, oh, like email and websites are pretty cool? Like, there's probably a fit here for the foreseeable future. Do you think they were like 5 years and they were like, this
I
is
mean,
still?
yeah, you're prompting me because I'm an old man and I'm going to take the bait 100%. Like, I'll tell you right now, when we got dial up internet on our 14.4 modems, okay, uh, and you got online, like, this is pre AOL discs and stuff, right? The first thing the people told you was never give out your real name, never put your credit card anywhere, never tell anyone anything personal, okay? And like, and we're talking like years, more than 10 years before people were comfortable, not even forget about like putting your credit card or anything on the internet, like actually doing business online, through via email, let's just say, as opposed to, oh, fax me this thing, call me, whatever. And even still, you need those like physical verifications, right? And so the idea that like we can figure this out so quickly is absolutely fucking insane, right? It's probably like 20 years after the internet even became even marginally ubiquitous that people started like actually putting their credit cards online, right? And so like I think these things take a lot. We are an industry that moves quickly, but these things take way more time than we want them to.
Yeah, that's exactly the context that I was looking for, because I think whenever you're in the thick of it, and I'm I think like 3.5 years now into dedicating myself to Web3 gaming, that feels like a crazy long time. Like outside of YouTube, which we did for about 7 years, me and my brother together. Before that, my longest job that I held was like, I don't know, like about two and a half years or something. So this is basically like the second longest career I've ever had, and you're saying that we're still like 5 more years away from people thinking it's legitimate, which is kind of crazy. But it also is great context to remind myself to like be patient, and I
I,
think everybody else
I
too.
just gotta say, I feel like Sinjin probably has some stories here because like there's no industry more scrutinized, more regulated than gambling, and I don't think that even then that shit moves all that quick. So he probably's got some stories too.
Yeah, especially whenever you're dealing with legalization of gambling with governments in East Asia, it definitely seems like a long stone to try to overturn. Sinjin, raise the hand whenever you're ready. I would love to get some notes on that. But let's go to Jerry, then we'll tag in Matthew Buxton in the meantime.
Yeah, to plus one on what Koji said. I mean, we got fucking undoxed people that we're supposed to take seriously. Hey, Lems, dude, like we have no idea who Lems is. This guy's still not putting his credit card information online or name.
Boy,
He could
you
be
saw me
fucking
as a real person in GDC.
this.
I am real.
Dude, I can't confirm or deny. This guy might be
Me
fucking
neither.
Kevin from Beaumont, Texas, or something. We got no idea about this guy. We take him seriously as like an industry leader.
Concur.
So
Whoa, you just doxed my name that I'm from Texas. Whoa,
yeah,
man, like
sorry,
chill out here.
dude. Kevin from Beaumont, Texas. We look out for this guy. But yeah. I mean, listen. Not to go back on Concord. I guess I'll just keep using everybody's favorite punching bag as an example. But it took 7 years to figure out that that was going to fail. And this is the same panel.
Christ.
It
This is
shouldn't have taken 7 years to figure out that was
but,
bad.
but
That's
how
the
many
issue.
but how many of those
Like
things are there that are out there?
I mean, the issue is that we came at this industry, or a lot of us came at this industry without, I mean, yes, of course, the Web 2 people getting into the industry completely messed it up in many, many ways. But a lot of the Web 3 people kind of led them down the wrong path. And people who gave them money didn't help with that. I do think that a lot of things could have been found to fail earlier, but it just Web3 doesn't work like that because there's always another way to get money. There's always another meta. To
I,
actually get your
yeah.
game in front of people is actually the death of your project. And that's why a lot of these projects, kind of zombie projects raised in 21, are still knocking around.
I think what
But hold on, I would argue that you could make that same argument about any emerging tech when it was emerging, right? Like the initial dot-com bubble, like Web 1.0 or whatever you want to call it, like there was always money to be had from people if you were like, I'm going to build a website, I'm going to build radio.com or whatever the fuck, like it. There was as many, if not more, scams then as there are now. It's a lot easier to do it now than it was before. But I think that like this is the cycle that comes with working in an emerging piece of tech.
Yeah, to tack onto that for a second too, I would say it's even crazier because whenever those scams were launching, they were launching on like the S&P 500. Our scams are at least launching in some like weird Wild West digital environment that's a lot harder to maintain or whatever, or a little bit harder to develop in a safe, secure, trust manner, whatever. But those guys were just putting it literally on the stock market and still having just as many scams. Jerry, I feel like you got cut off a couple times though. Did you want to finish your point?
No, I mean that's that. I think these guys had an interesting discussion about it, but like I think it's fair to judge the product market fit didn't work out for is like what Matt is talking about is like the Web 2 builder who came in and wanted to get the Web 3 benefits of money, but ignore everything else about Web 3, right? That product market fit of like those builders coming in, yeah, it didn't work. And I think Knock last week said if you're coming into Web 3 and not doing Web 3 shit, you're kind of an asshole. And there's no fit for that. But I think what you're seeing now, and credit to what Matt's doing, and guys like Uprising and Sky Mavis and all these guys is like there's more Web3 natives who are wanting to take on like a publisher type role. And I think what you'll see is the crop of games that come up now, and the wave that comes after this will have better resourcing and better people to turn to for answers to some of these things. So yeah, I mean, I think overall it is too early to judge like does the Web3 gaming thesis work? 100%. I think you start to see it, some cracks and what is not working. But I think to judge the thesis overall, it's still like a year or two away, in my opinion.
Really, really interesting discussion. Appreciate you guys being willing to go there on something that's obviously central to all of our careers here. A big deal, little deal, no deal. Is there tons of trouble in Telegram gaming? Sorry, I'll show myself out. Telegram gaming is struggling with retention, monetization, and user rates below industry standards. Last month's new mandate forces anyone building a Telegram app to also use the ton chain because whenever you're struggling, you should limit your audience even more. Helica is reporting a low ARPU, unsustainable, unit economics, and a decline in user activity. Although Helica's report is throwing cold water on the Ton ecosystem, the firm ended its report on a high note as it looked ahead to the rest of 2025. They said, quote, it's clear that Telegram cares about attracting game studios and is opening up capabilities for them. This sets the stage for more complex gaming experiences to show up in 2025 as studios are able to push mid-core and hardcore titles. Yeah, we'll see about that. Big deal, little deal, no deal. The future of Telegram gaming from here. I think Jonah Blake had the hand up first.
Whoa, hold on, Sam. Before you go to Jonah, I just want to say that Sijin had his hand up for that last topic, and maybe he didn't see it, or he didn't call on him, or
Ah, shit.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to reverse the show, but just in case you don't see his hand this
No, I
time, it's
appreciate
also.
that. Yeah, let's go to Sinjin. Sinjin, I would love to hear from you on if it's too early to judge the product market fit of Web3 gaming, and Koji, what we were talking about earlier with sort of the parallels between the development of Web3 gaming and its adoption and how people feel about it against maybe any of the experiences you've had in the past. Sorry that I missed that. Thanks, Koji.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Koji, and thanks, Sam. Just like really quickly is like I think, there definitely was product market fit when it was a speculative, play. And then what happens now if we look at the last couple of months, like some of the TGEs from some of the projects that launched, you can't say that they were not Web3 native or they didn't know what they were doing or they didn't, start a new meta and, make a big splash. But then you look at the results of what the TGE has kind of, come out to. And hope is really dying like on the vine here in the sense that we have a couple more TGEs that are going to come out and everyone is behind them, everyone is like supporting them, they seem to be making all the right moves. What if they're TGE tanks, right? And then there's kind of this existential crisis where the majority of Web3 and this entire kind of narrative that the reason why Web2 studios suck is because in Web3 they don't understand. But what if the entire Web3 native narrative doesn't simply work because speculation isn't enough? And I think it comes down to this, and I'll give the analogy from back in the day is like, when you talk about product market fit for like a blue ocean kind of situation, right? It's not led by this kind of consensus and this thesis of this is how products should build. That comes after you have a product that actually works. So like I would say late 90s we had about like 7 or 8 major search engines that were going on, and they all kind of basically followed a similar principle. When Google came along with the page ranking system, most VCs were like kids. Like we already have like 7 or 8. This market is like saturated. This is how search is done, and this is how it works. And if you think about it, that industry was probably only about 3 years old. I remember I was using this one search engine called Metacrawler because it would search, Ask Jeeves, Yahoo, and all the rest at the same time, and it would give like maybe the 10 best from those ones, and that was kind of the best you can get. And then Google, famously, asked I think around 200 VCs, and they all rejected it, saying like you're too late. It's already done. This is how it's done, without like anyone really breaking through to really have like effective search. And then Google does it, right? And then they crush it. So if you think about like a blue ocean or like a new product category, right? This common sense of wisdom of like we know how it's done, this is how all products should do, that is kind of total bullshit, right? But the thing is that bullshit was perpetuated and reconfirmed and confirmed like multiple times over, because on the speculative side, you want people to be able to understand and share a narrative because you want them to ape in, right? And then that's the kind of confirmation bias where like, okay, everyone's aping in, everyone's making money, so therefore this is right. Well, what happens when everyone does ape in and it doesn't work out? And I think that's where we're at here right now. And it comes down to the fact that, you know, what is really product market fit? For games, it's going to be the game that is fun and the game that can, acquire users at the right cost. So, like, what will be that 10x that will actually make that happen way above it? Because if you still face the same difficulties you face in Web 2 with a Web 3 game, then is your product even good enough? Like, is it innovative enough? And we don't ask those questions. And I think right now, unfortunately, that's what's happening. Like, not unfortunately, I think it's maturing, and I think it's a natural thing for it to mature. And in terms of like Telegram, same thing. Was Telegram based on real gaming, or was it based on speculation and outreach? And I think for one thing, that outreach was outstanding. Like it was such a big boost in terms of like, Telegram, like how many billions or hundreds of millions of members do they have? Fantastic. It's a lot. But can that cover the fundamentals of a product which really isn't fun, or is just for attention and is not, and is just backed by a token that now the market is just dead? I don't think so. So again, we're coming in gaming, and we're not here, I think, for the speculation. I mean, if you're a real gamer, right, you're here because the games are genuinely entertaining, and it gives something to you that's non-transactional. If we don't find that for Web3, I mean, I don't know what we're doing here.
All I'm saying is you probably should drink more often, Sinjin.
My guy's locked in. He's in the pocket, just like the prophecy foretold. Great stuff, Sinjin. Thanks for that, man. YS Ridgeway from Unioverse says Telegram gaming is a load of shit. There's no barrier to entry, so users have 10 to 30 accounts that are bots. Hey, coming in hot on the next topic, real quick, another couple comments. Icy says, I wholeheartedly agree with parallel TCG, which is, of course, Koji. I've been saying this for the past 2 years. This industry will take a decade minimum to really build and break out. And then, of course, we've got Justin Lucas saying, Koji, you can't put 9 pregnant women in a room and get a baby in a month. just an iconic quote.
What?
And then I also just want to give a special shout out to Yap, who's been going hard in the comments. Always appreciate you, man. We also have Skyborn Legacy and Bloodloop in the comments as well. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Anyway, big deal, little deal, no deal. Tons of trouble in Telegram gaming. Back on this one, how do you guys feel about the future and the current state of Telegram gaming from here? As I think I remember, Jonah had the hand up first. Jonah, take us away, buddy.
Yeah, so I have two clients that are right now Telegram exclusive. They're both in the top 10, and I can't say what the numbers are, but they're doing quite well financially month over month. One is in the top 5, the other's in the top 10. So what I'll say is there is money to be made there. Um, a number of the top Telegram games are not happy about the new changes that Telegram has. And a lot of those top Telegram games are working on several solutions that are not out yet that are within the Telegram TOS so they can still get the value of Telegram, but also a lot of those builders have sucked up a lot of money from the Telegram ecosystem and they're using it to build new social casino products off of Telegram. And a fair amount of them have already raised money from VCs to do that and have already gotten those checks, but they haven't announced the raises yet.
Well, that's awesome
So
to hear.
they'll
That
be
bodes well.
announcing.
I guess we'll keep our ear to the ground. Glad to hear that the monetization seems to be working out for those guys. I want to tag in Matthew Buxton next, who seems to be tapped into the mobile market.
Yeah, I mean, I colored me surprised to get the Pikachu JPEG out and say casual and hyper casual games had casual and hyper casual stats with lots of engagement and no retention. But imagine this. Imagine that we would make games with nothing that happens that much. And then they don't have long lasting retention like other games. Oh, who would know that? We have to look into the data. Now, I mean, it's clear it's emergent. It's emergent. It's the same as when Facebook games popped up, but then Facebook executed those games. It is a great place to be for a project that has a good game. And there are loads of ways into it, and there is still lots of money there. There is still lots going on. Them actually confining it to Ton, I know so many people hate this, but it's protecting their ecosystem. It's actually protecting the concentration of cash around it because you can imagine what happens when the Solana casino opened. Meme coins flooded everything. There is no old season because there's now 500 bajillion coins, each with $1 in it means that no one's got any money anymore. Concentrating this in Telegram and keeping it to a Telegram only and kicking out the other chains that would have just filled it with the same just on their chain. I can't see a bad reason for that. For letting them go in and do that. They would only do the exact same thing that everyone else does and copy the same stuff and spend the same money to do the same things. Games need to progress there. They need to mature there. They are doing that. The tech is getting better. And locking them into Ton, well, let's see how that plays out. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think Telegram or Tom's going to suffer by doing that. And I certainly don't think the quality of games is going to suffer by not letting more chances in.
We've got Magic chiming in the comments as well. Says Telegram gaming is excellent to test a gameplay loop and leaves it there. So at least there's some value. Maybe that'll bring some people in. Let's go to Will's Big Spang. What's your take on Telegram gaming going forward?
Yeah, I don't think this is a huge deal. I think this is, as Matthew was saying, I don't think it's surprising that these games aren't having extremely high retention rates because I think I think it's important to kind of go back. I think it was like 5 months ago. I remember around like October 2049 in September. Everyone was talking about Telegram gaming as this next new frontier of everything was going to be on Telegram, on Ton, and what we saw from that was super cheap UA. It was really really easy for games to acquire users through Telegram, and that was the sort of the spark that blew everything up, and we had all of these games with millions and millions of players, but no one was actually able to monetize. And I think that holds true. um, to avoid repeating everything that Matthew said, I think you get what you pay for in terms of UA, and I think Telegram is going to continue to be a cheap source of UA, but not much more than that.
Great stuff from the strong man. Let's go over to Big Jerry, and then we'll tag in the patron of Pooches.
I think it's a big deal in the sense that a few months ago everybody was saying that this was the future, and then there was a few people who were like, oh, I mean, maybe not, guys, like let's pump the brakes here. I don't think this is the answer to everything. And people put a ton of resourcing into trying to figure out, is this going to work, and then they found out that no, it's not going to work. And I think it's a lot like when a mobile game studio goes like, "Hey, you know what? We're doing great in mobile. We're gonna go build a AAA game," and everybody goes like, "It's not gonna fucking work, guys," but they still do it anyway. And the inverse is true. EA is always like, "Oh, we're gonna go build the next great mobile game," and then they try and it fucking sucks. And the teams that are doing well, like the ones that Jonah are talking about, probably come from a background where they were building Telegram games or Telegram-like games already, so they knew exactly what the fuck they were doing and exactly how to do it. and what to put in to start to hook those people in and get them to turn into a monetizing user. Nobody else who pivoted knew how to do any of those things, and it didn't work out for them. Shocker, right? So, I think there's still a future for these Telegram games, but the fact that so many people tried and it just now they've pivoted onto AI already is everything you need to know about, was that going to work? And I still am
I
not
already know who
convinced.
you're talking about. Can I start shit?
Dude,
Am I
I mean, I'm
allowed to?
not talking about anybody in particular. I'm talking about a whole lot of teams.
I'll
You
do it.
you say what you want, man. But
I'll do it. It's the guy who copied my aid proposal and then didn't get it anyway.
yeah.
Mighty Bears. That's the one.
Yeah, I
Fuck
mean,
you, Simon. I forgot his name.
he almost
Not
did
Sam.
the fuck you, Sam.
I forgot
To
his
be
name for a
fair to
second.
Jonah,
If you're
Sam
listening to
is
this, fuck you, Simon. Just want to let you know and remind you.
to
Happy
be
Happy
fair
New
to
Year.
to be fair to Jonah,
Jonah's
Sam is a pretty
spiciness coming back.
universal term within crypto that if you say those words, you pretty much are pretty wide encompassing that you'll do pretty well at being true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
I think
yeah,
to Jerry's point, it is not the free win that so many people hoped it would be, and all those people that thought it would be a free win and they could raise off of or make a bunch of money off of whatever have pivoted into AI from what I've seen as well. And like Jerry said, I think it applies to a ridiculous amount of teams, fortunately or unfortunately. Jerry, anything else you
Well,
wanted to add before I go to Peyton?
yeah. I just the last thing I want to push back on with Telegram is that people thinking that it's a good way to get cheap UA. Like, I don't. I'm still just not convinced that that happened to anybody, right? Like, I think there's a lot of teams out there who have 4 million people in a Telegram bot and no ability to push those people into anything else, right? Because all you can do to them is send them notifications or send them on a task or whatever to go do the next thing, and you'll convert some of those people, but are you going to convert 4 million? Or are those millions of people that you have playing your clicker going to be interested in a 4x game? They're not. That's not how it works. And a bunch of people called me an idiot on this very panel for saying it wouldn't work, and look who's laughing now, bitches.
Jerry pulling up all the
Yeah, fuck you,
receipts.
Simon.
Yeah, fuck you, Simon. Jerry pulling up the receipts like my.
That's Jonah saying that, by the way, Simon. I'm just saying it
Jerry
about a lot of
co-signing. Jerry
people.
said you can go fuck yourself as well. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the support. Thanks, Jerry.
I think the wrinkle here is you're right. It wasn't cheap to acquire users. It was cheap to acquire vanity metrics. And for some people, that was a means to an end that accomplished their goal for better or for worse. But I don't think anybody at this point would say it's cheap to acquire real users on Telegram that will continue to engage with your product for an elongated period of time without airdrop incentivization. Let's go over to the patron of pooches, the curator of canines, Peyton.
this is also just like I don't know anything about like Telegram games as well. I like playing like Super Vibe and Marvel Rivals and a whole bunch of stuff. And so, but I look at it actually as like a impressive like network effect of like distribution, right? Like I think where a lot of people looked at Telegram games is like this is a really good top funnel for like a game that we want them to download. Whenever I don't think it should have actually been a top funnel thing. It should just be the thing, right? Like if you if a game is fun enough, like I can forward that message over to you, Sam, and I think that's where like the innovation of like Telegram games are is that it has like mass virality, very similar to like kind of like what Musically did with TikTok and like that specific one is that like as soon as something catches and it does have product market fit within a group of people, how fast it spreads is like pretty freaking crazy. That's how I look at it from like a I guess a tech perspective in terms of like Telegram, because I do think that when it comes to if there is a product market fit and I need to send it to Jonah, Sam, Bryson, or anybody that I think would be fun, it probably removes all the barrier way more faster than like I go to the App Store. I think this game is really fun. I download it from the App Store. I have to go back to the App Store and share it, or like that specific one, and they have to go and download it. It's like, nah, Telegram is like, hey, this game is freaking fun, and I'm playing it within like seconds. And I don't think that should be slept on in terms of a distribution specific play. And I also like know like Ardo, who's like Proof of Dork, who's like one of our like amazing members within Wolves. I think he has like the most meat within like Wolves. And that specific thing is that he's working on like actually an app that works within Telegram, and that is the app. it's not a top funnel for the game that's like an app that's, a bottom funnel, or like trying to download a super vibe. Like that just doesn't work. So I I'm not counting it out at all. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, big shout out to Ardo, one of the smartest people we have in the entire Wolves DAO. Tons of games industry experience, always sharing his thought processes. Let's go over to Big Sinjin, then we'll tag in Koji. Sinjin, your thoughts on the current and future state of Telegram gaming?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and I'm not going to add too much more, is that so I'm still like obviously in the network of, real money gambling, right? It's whatever. And just to get to the point, like in terms of cost per user acquisition and revenues and stuff like that, at the beginning, maybe the first 4 months of the Telegram kind of boom, on the real money gambling side, for sure, there were some companies I know they made 4 to 7 million US in the first couple of months each month, right? And for them, the user acquisition was like peanuts. I don't know about now, but that would have been maybe about like, I would say maybe about quite a bit of time now, but 8 months ago or so. So like, yeah, it does actually work. There was like definitely some traction there and definitely some revenue there. But for other genres, I don't know. But to say that it just it wasn't cost effective or like there wasn't revenue being made, like you guys don't know. Like there definitely was.
Big Koji, do you agree?
Uh, um, my comment is more so just like to kind of loop back to what we were talking about in the previous topic, like the space, the age of it, all of this stuff. I mean, this is just proof that we're still very much in our infancy, because everyone in the space, like, and we're just as guilty, right? Like, gamified is maybe even perpetuating some of this stuff, but like, it wasn't that long ago that the topic was like, is the future of gaming only on Telegram? This is where it's all going to be. People aren't going to do X, Y,
Hey,
Z. And now we're like, is it
I'm
fucked?
just
Is it
asking the
over?
question,
And I
Koji.
think
I'm
that
not saying shit. I'm just
no,
saying,
Great
whenever
question, by the way, Sam.
yeah,
whenever
no.
it becomes literally like the 10th largest market cap in a bear market for Web3 games, you have to ask the question: is this the future of Web3 games? I think that's fair.
Look. I'm not blaming you. When I say like gamified, is it just as guilty? I mean, all of us on the panels answering the questions are just as guilty. I think that like we have this mentality that like teenagers have, where they're just like it's either the best thing ever or it's absolute trash, and there's no in between, right? Like we there's no temperance at all. It can't just be. It is either amazing or it's dog shit. And if you ask anyone their opinion on any of this stuff, that's just how it is, right? And it's because we're so young. Everyone's grasping at the same straws, trying to find where the future of this shit's going to be. And if it doesn't work for them when they grasp at it, they're like, it's shit. And if it does, they're like, this is the best thing ever. It's the fucking future, right? And I think that until we get more mature as a space in general, and we realize, like, wait, all of these things are just like tentacles on the octopus or whatever, right? Like they're tools to be used if it works for what you are building, and if it doesn't, there are other tools available, and we kind of like temper our expectations in that way. Then we'll know, okay, like we're a bit more mature. We're in like the spaces where it should be. But for right now, it's just like all or nothing all the time.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to Jonah's point earlier, right? It's possible that some of these games are actually doing quite well. It's just not the mass onboarding
They are.
frenzy that we maybe hoped it would be at the
Oh,
time.
brother, they're making seven figures a month. People don't know, and they don't want you to know.
Well, my
So
point is just, yeah, a couple of
And
them
this is
can be.
true, man.
A couple of them can be, but it's not 1,000 companies like all the companies that ran to it and like the sensationalist headlines were saying 6 months ago, or whatever. But go ahead, Jonah.
Yeah, so this is like where Sinjin is my Asian twin, where we both yell at each other. He's kind of like my uncle that I wish I had. My current uncle is an annoying vegan. Rest in peace to
This
his
engine
diet.
is the exact opposite.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I said Sinjin's the uncle I wish I had. Hopefully my uncle isn't listening to this. But yeah, people have no idea what they're talking about. I have two top 10 clients on Telegram. I don't know what I can say other than that Telegram games can still make seven figures a month. The retention is still high. The reason that people in this space don't like them is because they're not games, they're social casinos. And social casinos still make a fuck ton of money depending on where you're targeting them. The only reason that my clients want to go beyond Telegram has to do with the fact that they've already beaten the game And for them to make even more money, they have to go do it on Discord, Twitter, TikTok, and more because they all took venture capital money, and that's how you scale. If they didn't take venture capital money, they would just sit on Telegram all day and rake in their millions a month and retire. So the only reason they're leaving Telegram is not because Telegram's dying; it's that the App Store
Yep.
restrictions they've created are insane. The
They've
other
capped.
reason, yeah, it's capped. The other reason, which no one's telling you about, which again I have to be very careful what I say so I don't get myself in trouble, is the Apple App Store has basically won in terms of they get whatever they want. So, like, and there's the same problem with Sonium, Line, and Kaya. I know enough about this to know what the problems are. The problem is you have two divisions of a company. You've got Telegram and you have Ton. Telegram, the app, which is, Pavel Durov, they have to abide by Apple App Store and Google Play regulations. And the reality is, certain transactions and certain mechanisms cannot be allowed. So they have to create certain rules where Ton, the ecosystem, is more aligned with Telegram, the actual revenue producing app, in order for them to not have to get fucked by Apple, who controls the board. The same issue with Kaya, which is a messaging blockchain service out of Korea. They have the exact same problem, which is why you're not seeing a lot of line games that are crypto native because their rules are even more strict, even though you will see games in crypto go to line. I know of 5 now that are getting prepared for line. So you're going to see in about 2 months, you're going to see, is line the future of gaming? Because you're going to see crazy numbers. And it's going to be the same thing. So Sinjin is right. People simply do not understand the unit economics. There is still a lot of money to be made there. It's just not games like Marvel Rivals. It's a social clicker casino, and that's the games that people like there. By the way, in crypto, in terms of revenue, apps on Telegram still to this day make almost as much, if not more money than Pump Fund, but people don't read charts. The highest producing app revenue generator in crypto in the last 24 hours is Bonkabot, which made $3 million in 24 hours. That's more money than ETH made on the entire network in the last 24 hours. So Telegram, you can make a fuck ton of money.
Some interesting data there to unpack for sure. Some good sound bites too for Big Phil to cut later. Well, we're midway through our magnificent mission here. Let's maneuver to thank our mates over at Avalanche. They're the Sub-Zero superheroes, ensuring our digital deeds are as smooth and safe as a snowboarder on fresh powder and a suit of armor. Whether you're dodging bullets in the firefights of Off the Grid or scaling magical pizza in Maple Story, Avalanche is the summit where Web3 gaming truly shines. You got to give a big thank you to the official chain of Gamified. And up next is the Game 7 Nation, a gaming haven where players have the power. Did you know they've got 175,000 monthly active Mavericks making moves in the Game 7 portal? They also have 400,000 citizen avatars on chain, now their own chain. TGE'd earlier this morning, migrating from ZK Sync. With Hyperplay as your highway to hassle-free game discovery experiences and World Builder, whipping your world into a wealth generation wonderland. Game 7 is the real MVP. And don't forget the ginormous MetaMask partnership, opening the gates to 30 million users thanks to our official infrastructure, Game 7. I wrote a thread actually early this morning about why I'm so excited about them. A little bit extracted away from the price action. I don't really want to comment on that, but their digital nations concept is something that, as a co-founder of the Wolves DAO, that I have found really, really exciting. It's something that the kid in me who loved my guild mates and had best friends all over the world, even though, like Koji said, I wasn't supposed to tell him my real name or where I lived or whatever. Like, if they're able to pull that off and we actually have digital nations that are sovereign and are able to change the lives of tons and tons of people, that will be the single coolest thing that crypto like ever does, in my opinion, period. Anyway, buckle up, Space Cadets, because Star Atlas is also about to launch a rocket full of loot that'll make your head spin faster than a black hole. The Golden Carnival Mega Mystery Week is coming February 21st, but you can join them right now every single Friday for your chance to snag a share of $4 million prize pools. We're talking enough cosmic credits to make sure you're the envy of the galaxy, so scramble your starships and set your coordinates to the Star Atlas Discord to learn more about the official game of Gamified and get into that preseason right now. Okay, we're moving on to a little bit of AI X gaming here. Alpha Goats are your personal, autonomous, income generating agents, quote unquote. They also say designed specifically for the world of gaming and entertainment. I want to hear your guys' sentiment score. Okay, this means a 0 is you hate it. A 10 is you think it's the coolest thing of all time and it'll be wildly successful. These guys from AlphaGoats continue on to say, these are autonomous agents that are powered by GOAT Gaming that compete, create, and earn on your behalf 24/7. These agents participate in tournaments, prediction markets, and other revenue generating activities, their words, not mine, activating as passive wealth engines for their owners. Do games even want these bots to play them, first of all? And do gamers want bots to play for them? And is there even any revenue out there to really earn with your bot in a way that's not against the terms and service conditions of the games, etc.? Scale of 1 to 10, give me your sentiment score. Let's tag in Big Bryson first on this one.
I'm gonna say a two, for multiple things. One, I think AI is getting kind of annoying. I'm tired of seeing AI bots tweeting at me, creators using AI to reply to tweets. That shit's lame. Like, stop being fucking lazy. Three, I mean, basically what you just said is that there's just AI scholar farmers in games now. I mean, yeah, you can have them playing, but after a while, I feel like it's just a game of diminishing returns and kind of just gives me like dead internet theory vibes. Like, imagine all of the AIs are the daily active users playing. Maybe we should call them autonomous active users. That could be like the new metric or something. But I'm not. I don't know. I'm not keen on the idea that like you have an AI scholar farming in games for you. Like, I feel like we're taking this token farming thing to the next level here.
Great take from Bryson. Yeah, I see some founders, in the audience as well as, of course, the ones on panel. We got Graslow, Justin Lucas, Josh P from Bornless, etc. I would love to hear from you guys if y'all think that you would even want these guys using your products. It feels a little bit like a sandpapery in my brain whenever I think about it. Let's go over to Koji next.
I mean, let's just say three, I guess. I don't know enough about that actual product to like really speak on it, but and as somebody who's making a game that is at least one of our games is AI driven and has autonomous agents in it. Like, I think that makes sense if your game is made to support that. But like, if people are building agents to play other games, that's just called botting. And then like, why even play the game? And I guess if it's for the financial reward, I'm just gonna keep tying it back to the previous topic because I'm an asshole and just say like, that's how fucked up our space still is. Like, if people are just like, hey, I'm gonna we're making games. They're supposed to be entertainment. But if we're not entertaining people and people are only playing the game to get the coin or the money or the reward or whatever, and other people are using AI bots to do that, then we're fucked, man. The whole point of this thing is like to give people a reason to waste time with you. And if they're not willing to do that, they're like, what I'd rather do is just train this AI bot to play this other game so I don't have to touch it. I mean, that says a lot about the products that we're building, I think. And but anyway, as a founder, like, would I want an AI bot to play parallel for another player? Fuck no. Like, compete or get the fuck out, in my
Yeah,
I
opinion.
love it. Damn right.
yeah, fucking preach, man. I mean, if you wanted them to be playing against bots, you would just have a better AI for them to play against, or do a player liquidity service that matched make them in a way that was I don't know, authentic and controlled by you guys. Like, I just fundamentally I feel like I'm having a little bit of a hard time wrapping my head around this one. Sinjin, over to you, buddy. Oh, Lems is giving me the wave. Actually, let's see what Lems has to say.
Yeah, I'll throw a little bit of color here because I've followed these a little bit. I feel like they need to get more info out, but they're doing it more like the AI arena play where it'll only be agents versus agents and it's within their ecosystem. It's not playing external games. And so I think that's kind of interesting. Like, I would say I'm probably on a 6 right now where I'm intrigued, but I still don't have enough info to know how these are going to work longer term and if they're going to be sustainable. Like, it could be kind of interesting to have some prediction markets and people like betting on them. I think that's part of what they want to do is like people betting on the agents. But to me, it's more like the AI arena play where people are training the agents to then play the game, and it's a little bit different than just like, hey, I'm just going to go bot this random game and have an agent play it.
Oh, okay, now I'm like an 8. I'm way more into that. That's like horse racing, sort of, right? Like, you're training this thing and as long as it's in the games are built for those agents to play. Like, the ecosystem is built around the AI and not, whatever, like just shoved into a different ecosystem. That sounds actually way more
Yeah, yeah.
compelling
What
to me because it's like
exactly
it,
like what they're doing is having
yeah, go
like you
ahead.
can have humans versus humans play these games, and then I think the idea is like you can play the game and learn how to play the game and get better at the game, and then you can train your agent because you know how to play the game against other players, so now you can train the agent to play it better on your behalf.
You guys scared Bryson off. He came in with that spicy take, and then we hit him with some more information. He said, "All right, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out." Let's go over to Sinjin now. Sinjin, what's your take on this? What's your sentiment score, bro?
Yeah, my sentiment score is a 9-10. I think it's going to open
Damn.
up a new form of gaming. Yeah. Well, no, I've been following the project actually because, the AI and how it works. And, yeah, poker, there's a thing called GTO. I don't know exactly. I think it's game theory optimization. I don't know if I got the term right. It came in after I left the industry, but basically, with bots, basically destroyed online poker, and like the bots and AI solving poker for like the kind of long-term players was so like perfect. It's basically been solved that players would basically like screenshot or have a screen share with another system and basically play optimally. And so like the poker itself became totally screwed. But in this case, if you're making an ecosystem of games for AI to compete with, then the way that you're using AI isn't necessarily to play, but it's more like your own kind of trading bot, like as if you're trading the market. So which games are you going to pick? What kind of risk profile? What time should it be playing at what skill level? And then also, I think it opens up another form of gaming that's not replacing obviously gamers. I mean, like the reason why I play Dota 2 religiously, like 1 hour a day at least, still is because I love the game, but I also want to take my mind off something. It's entertainment for me. That's never going to go away. I'm not going to fulfill that from like whatever an AI agent. But like in terms of like creating a strategy and then building up my AI army on this particular ecosystem. Or like in other kind of systems where the game specifically is designed for that type of AI play, I'm really bullish. I think it can be a new entire genre, and I think it can attract people like who just like building characters and letting them go off and doing stuff. So yeah, I'm really bullish on them. I'm really bullish on Simon, even if Jonah isn't, but it's okay. I think to each their own opinion.
Fair play. You're all entitled to your wrong opinions, says Sinjin. Let's go over to Big Jerry, then we'll tag in Wills.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with like a 7. I think because of the potential that could be here. Um, I think AI to solve like player liquidity problems and stuff. Like we've kind of talked a lot about that. I think it's good and will be needed for a lot of games, especially getting over like the cold start problems. But I think I have said this before. Seeing AI play AI, like just an AI on AI game, does absolutely zero for me. Like, I don't know, Sam and I get together every, like, when they do the Dota finals, and we go watch and just kinda sit on the couch for a couple hours and, just watch, like, dudes compete. And, like, I don't know, I watch baseball because I wanna watch fucking Jose Canseco mash 45 home runs on steroids. I don't wanna see a robot pitch a ball to another robot. I watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because I wanna see 50-year-old women fucking scream at each other over stupid shit. I don't wanna watch 2 AIs argue over fucking cheating spouses or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I think entertainment is fun because there's people behind it, and so, like, watching 2 AIs, like, everybody keeps telling me this is, like, the new form of esports is AIs competing against AIs, and, like, you guys have fun with that Black Mirror episode. I'm just gonna keep, trying to kill 12-year-olds in Fortnite and teabag them afterwards.
All right, Jerry, let
Yeah,
me
but
throw one
Jerry,
thing back to you.
you love that AI porn and you have no problem with that, right? So I mean, what's the difference?
Hold on. Jerry, like if you've played like an auto battler before, or I don't know, Punch Club, like the mobile game Punch Club or whatever, like I think the idea of training your AI to be better can be entertaining for you, the player. I don't know if it's going to be the next esport, but like fine tuning your AI so that it is better when it performs and is different than the other player's AI, like making the training the game and sort of the game be the outcome, if that makes sense. I think is very compelling.
That's where I'm at, like a 7 on the intrigue of, like, things like that. I think there's a subset of people in games who will love that, and I think it'll be kinda like your hardcore, like, 4X, like, strategy players, right? It's not gonna be a huge population of people, this is just my, like, theory here, but there will be people who love shit like that, and they will be absolute fiends and, like, nerds for it, and they'll spend so much money on this shit. But I think most people are, like, in the St. camp. They just wanna play games and shut their mind off a little bit, and they wanna see, real people behind these things, not, they don't wanna see 2 AIs, like, competing against each other like this 2-minute papers guy on YouTube. Yeah, go watch some of that stuff. Like, it's fascinating as a technological concept. It's pretty boring to watch at the end of the day.
Here,
Have you
Jerry,
ever
let me hit you with
have you
one.
ever heard of a game called Sims, Jerry?
Yeah, that game where I control people and then they do what I tell them to. I've heard of that. I maybe have
Yeah.
played it.
Do they? Okay. Just checking.
All right, I want to hit
My
you with
kids,
another one,
my
Jerry.
kids freaking like loved Sims. I wasn't like stuff, but that's definitely a different demographic from 4X. And I think there is a demographic that's different from like 4X or whatever in terms of that. And like just to add my little thing before like Lems is like, I think I would actually want to play against like an Inhuman or a like at least just to get better from a practice standpoint. Or it would be really fun to see a battle royale with Shroud's agent versus Inhumans versus Kairos versus all that stuff in OTG. I know that you think that it's like just kind of like agents, but there is some personalization to it that can be trained by a person and like kind of does that. I think that's very interesting, and they're not limited to the fact that it's just them. Um, anyways, that's what I would also
Yeah.
add.
Well, and again, I wanna be I wanna say this again, because as much as Peyton reads, he doesn't listen. This is why I'm at a 7, and because I think this will open up, like, really interesting concepts of, like, can Inhuman control 1 person and his AIs make up, like, the rest of his 3-person team? That's a little bit more compelling to me, but the current, like, case that's being made, I think is not that compelling. I think these things that we're talking about that could be fascinating are, like, a couple years out.
Oh, I gotcha. So yeah, it just my ears are working. That's why it's weird for me because I'm listening that you saying a 7, and hear your tone, and then it's not a 7. You know?
Yeah, I
Oh,
only
God,
raised my hand to say Jerry
I'll fix
sucks.
my
I'll put
tone.
it down.
Yeah, your 7 doesn't match your tone. But I was just going to say, like, imagine the Wolf agent, right, going against Jonah's Sploot agent. Now all of a sudden you have this like community camaraderie behind it, where it's like your team, and you have all the wolves like supporting Wolf, and then you have like Jonah's like all the real agents supporting Sploot, and then they go head to head in some games, and you have this like community agent versus agent sort of thing
Why don't I just watch Peyton and Jonah play?
because they both suck.
Okay. Lems,
But,
any game, anywhere. Promise me, bro. GDC, bro. I'm a closet sweat. People don't even freaking know. Okay.
God damn, dude, this whole thing is unhinged. As soon as I'm gone for the first hour of a show, we end up here. What the fuck happened?
We're off the rails, Big Dub. A non-fungible Taylor in the comments says, "Oh shit, hearing Sinjin call an agent a character just unlocked something for me. This feels like another iteration of an RPG where we're training them to have the best abilities, and that sounds really cool to me." That's a nice little paradigm shift there mentally. Real quick reminder, we got a grid node to give away that's worth a couple $100. Big shout out to Grid. Thanks, guys. We're going to be giving that to somebody who retweets, is dropping comments, etc. Make sure you get it in while you still can. About 30 minutes of show left. Let's go to Big Spangler. Then we'll tag in Matthew Buxton before we move on to the next topic.
I feel like we're going in circles here a little bit of like, oh, it's good if it enhances the player experience in a way, but we also want it to enhance the player experiences when the players aren't there. And I feel like we need to pick one because I think, as Jerry just said, why would we watch AI versus AI when we can just watch them play? And I think that I'm looking. I'm actually. I wasn't familiar with the project, but I've been looking at the docs right now and sort of what it is. And it seems to me like there isn't a specific game that these are designed for. There's like a collection of games under the Goat umbrella that kind of that I'm assuming will be allowed to use these agents. And if I'm being completely honest, a lot of these games aren't the sort of skill based, like viewable stuff. Like one of them looks literally like tic tac toe, and if if this is kind of innovation, us putting money on bots to play tic tac toe against each other, like that's a four. I like a three from me, because I think that, like, yeah, the whole idea is it's like, oh, this is just a bot that's going to go make you money while you're not doing anything. Like, that's the whole idea, and you train it. I don't think that that enhances any player experience or even is a player experience. That's just a farming bot, and that's just going to make these games borderline unplayable. And the reason people play Fortnite is to stomp on 12-year-olds. And frankly, I'd be very disappointed if I found out the 12-year-old was at school learning their times tables and not, weeping because they'd just been crushed. And that's a high part of the value of these competitive games. And it doesn't even look like they're targeting those kind of games where they would be successful. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a three.
A three from Big Wills, the Super Smash Bros. Silver medalist. Matthew Buxton, what say you, bro?
I say basically it's six of one and half a dozen of the other. Am I bullish on this particular implementation and their set of games? No, I think it's a two. It's going to fail miserably. It's going to pump things because it's got AI in the name. Am I bullish on the concept? Yes, because I am terrible at games. I am very sweaty when it comes to collecting things and then strategically putting them together. Would I have a bot to play Magic the Gathering using my decks against real people? I would. They wouldn't enjoy it, but I certainly would because I'm shit at piloting my own decks. I do think there is a use case here. There is a use case for people who want to build the strategy thing and then let it go. They want to actually sort of set up a simulation. I see it as more of a simulation film where you're setting up these things, you're getting these cards, these decks, and you're seeing how these would compete. It's a bit like having fantasy football or those sorts of things. What I don't like is the idea that yes, it's a farming agent. Why just give them money, dude? Like if you really want them to do this thing and sit there, just give them money. Just like cut out the middleman and just say, here's your crappy coin. It won't be worth much. Why spend all of the money on building bad games with bad agents to badly play them that you have to spend some time badly interacting with them in a terrible UI in a industry where we have wallets that if you click the wrong button, you send your entire life's worth into the void. And why do all of that? Just pay them the money and have done with it. That's all they want. At the end of the day, why are you even stopping them from getting the money? The shortcut to this is a give them the money. Like you're just delaying it. You might as well just put a timer in front of them at that point. I'm bullish on the concept of simulation and AI and training things and making stuff fun. I'm just not bullish on this particular concept.
I would say that I'd rather buy a $500 NFT that would play for me automatically to earn $5 than pay $5 to the actual company. Matt, thank you very much.
The only thing that keeps me going is knowing that every time I make a transaction, I could be losing all of my wealth. That really gets me out of bed in the morning. There's something about it. It's like coffee. Sinjin, over to you for the last word. Then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, like as you guys know, like founders, we talk to other founders, and I like Simon a lot. I think he's a really smart dude. I think he's a real game developer. And then if you're looking at like the first iteration, and you're not deep diving into what they're doing, yeah, it may appear like that. But like again, with off the grid and stuff like that, let them cook. Solid team. And just let them cook and let's see what happens. Let's not judge it too quickly either.
Yeah, fair take there. I've known Coco and Simon from that team for quite a while. Big fans of them as people. Excited to see what they cook up and more information as it becomes available. Dave Schick says AI has been in gaming for a long while. It just wasn't as robust as it is now. If the game is centered around AI as being integral, it is good. If the players are using AI to cheat or get an advantage, it is bad. That's kind of the differentiation that he's setting for it. I do really want to get into this last topic though. Zai, Chad or Chump for vampire attacking Web 2. This one is a little bit heady. There's some details here, so stick with me. They claim they're bringing 40,000 Steam games on chain. I love the Zai guys. I think they're great. Personally, they say by introducing quote unquote proof of skill and allowing players to link their Steam accounts and in-game achievements on chain. They say this creates a verifiable gaming resume across thousands of titles. But on this very panel, Matthew Buxton made a claim saying on the Twitter comments, cutting this very fine line on the publicly available, anyone can use Steam APIs. Quote, you may not present the Steam data or permit the Steam data to be presented so that it appears that your application is endorsed or affiliated with Valve or Steam. Zai seemingly potentially saying that this is kind of like a partnership with Steam, and maybe there's some ambiguity there. So my question is, for Vampire attacking Web 2 in this way, Chad or Chump, Zai Chain, let's go to Matthew Buxton to kick this one off.
I'd say it's brave. I'd say it's brave, and it's hilarious that Steam didn't even notice. And that's the sad indictment on how popular Zai is. That no one gave a shit when they did that in terms of the web. You can literally add Steam login to anything. I can do that. I can have a cooking site and have Steam login on a cooking site. What you can't do is say, here's the Steam cooking site from Valve with Gabe's recipes, which they didn't, and they're close and they're cutting the edge. So I think I'll give them a Chad point for walking that fine intern in Web3 line that they did so delicately. But I would say that it's relatively inexpensive in anyone to do. So the amount of cachet they get from it is going to be limited. Also, they can't support every single achievement in Steam. They'll have to pick and choose, and that's going to be a nightmare because many of these are gameable. If these achievements are worth any kind of money of any kind of amount, they've just opened themselves up to all of the games on Steam having to be cheat proof, which is just a ludicrous idea. So they're going to have to be very, very careful about what they actually put on there. If they do it well and if they do it carefully, I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'm sure many other people will also have Steam logins and achievements and stuff like that.
Seems a little bit of middle of the road. I didn't expect that from Big Buxton. Let's go to Dub, who had the hand up next, then we'll tag in Koji.
I just don't want anyone to fail in our space, man. It's too much. But I mean, come on, really?
Dude,
It's
yeah.
kind of sad.
No, I feel you. I feel you, Buxton. And like, I love the Zy guys. I hold a shit ton of the Sentry keys, but this is fucking dumb, dude. I hate the way this is marketed. Like, this is not Steam games on chain in any sort of way. We've already been doing this stuff since 2022. Like, this is just fresh. This does not look like a UA for Web2 gamers from my point of view, unless they're going to be like, literally, here's $100 for having 100 hours in CS:GO. But I know things, so yeah, it's frustrating to me, and it feels like a nothing burger.
Dub says it's a nothing burger. I don't know if I'd go that far. It has to be a something in here. Koji, what say you?
I'm going Chad because I love Sobe for one. I also think that this is hilarious, and I do agree that it like the fear would be that it's gameable. The only thing is like you probably have to buy these games. So like who's like I guess the Web 2 game companies are winning in this equation, but like kind of incredible. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but like again, and I'm incredibly biased because Sobe's one of my favorite human beings in the world. The first time I met him, I was like, was that person real? I thought it was like I encountered some sort of mystical creature, and then like the next day, wasn't sure if that actually happened. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I'll say Chad until it doesn't work, but I think it'll be fun.
Chad until it doesn't work. All right, Jerry, what do we think?
Yeah, I think that I get them give them a Chad point. Yeah, I love Sobe. I love how everybody's interactions with Sobe is like the same. You're like, did that happen or was I really drunk last night? And yeah, but I mean, I think I have some issues with like the way they market this. Like, I read the press release or whatever, and it was like, we've just partnered with 40,000 games, and I was like, well, you can't just do that, you know? That's like me being like, I fucking bank with JP Morgan and Chase, and I'm a trillionaire, you know? Like, what the fuck, man? I don't know, man. Like, I'm an American. I have 330 million friends and family. Um, I just don't really see why people are trying to make this a big deal. I feel like every year we get like some announcement like this where it's like, oh, we've just partnered with this and we're going to bring 100 million people on chain, and it's like, well, realistically, everybody that you just are trying to vampire attack are never going to know that they got something for it, right? People try to do this to Steam like all the time, and just like Web 2 platforms with gift cards and Amazon fucking free $5 and stuff, or here's your Starbucks gift card, and nobody ever goes and claims those things. So I don't see why this would be any different. Happy to have my mind changed, but I think this is just like a total. Yeah, this doesn't even matter.
Seems like bearish on the concept, maybe a little bit bullish on the, or sorry, bearish on the announcement, the sort of packaging of it, but maybe a little bit bullish on the execution if they can pull it off here. I see in the comments says Zai or Chad's for sure. Things you love to hear. Let's go over to Big Peyton, and then we'll tag in Sinjin.
Plus whatever 5 right now. Sobe being a freaking goat and Chad, so it just gets Chad just based off of Sobe alone. And ditto to the experience that everybody else had with Sobe. I think when it comes to Forge.gg, also tried this. If people remember this, I think they also didn't execute too well when it comes to that, but like doing it, I think one of the people that probably did it well, but it was like an indirect type of way. I think the minting process that Dead Drop did back in I don't know whenever it was. Like I pretty much had to hook up my Xbox, my PlayStation, my Steam account, and then it read all the specific things, and it was cross collaborated, so it's like a lot stronger of a doxing component. And I qualified for like a whitelist. That's something that I wish that like we had like an achievement chain or some type of thing in which that like I can bring like my specific profile and bring it to Koji and say, Koji, look, brother, I'm a gamer, I promise. That type of thing. And like, there's that specific user acquisition that I get more, uh marketing to me that's going to be beneficial to me because I am the target demographic. I think that's something that is really cool, and that's why I like the concept. And I know Jerry's been praising me for reading. I did not read this specific article. I just like saw it from a headline specific news, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And so like I think that's what a lot of crypto people do. And so like I think the Steam, the buzzword, all of us know how it works, right? For marketing, put Steam. Last time it was Epic. Prime Gaming was like, a shining in the light for a second. Bornless was the first one to do it on Steam. It's kind of like one of those things. It's like it's a marketing play for a lot of people that are not as in the weeds as we are. And I think sometimes we need to just like back up and be like, oh, that's a good marketing specific ploy. I think a lot of people that are smoother brain or not in this specific niche will probably buy that.
Absolutely. And flipping the script a little bit here and looking at it from the perspective of I am a Web 2 gamer. I play a lot of, for instance, Dota, which I would imagine is one of the games that they're going to incentivize people with. Do you guys think that Web 2 gamers could potentially be converted to Web 3 gamers with a sort of reward system that gives people credit and rewards for their previous gameplay history? Let's go over to Sinjin first, who also already had the hand up. I don't mean to force you into a pigeonhole here, but I'd love your take on that aspect as well, Sinjin.
Actually, I was going to bring up that point as well, Sam. Uh, like the type of players who would be attracted that you would get from this type of incentive mechanism, like they're already going to be started onto somewhat of an entitled, maybe even like, whatever exploitive like track. And we're like almost corrupting them in a way, if we're bringing them that in its potential. Um, so like, I think it can be a double-edged sword when you're using incentives like right off the bat rather than some kind of real offering because it's like on their past achievements and stuff like that. But in general, as a flagship game on Zai, I'll tell you why I picked Zai is because they are Chads. Sobe's a Chad. They're all Chads over there, and they know how to play the crypto game. They went on Binance right off the bat with no issues. They did the first, they kicked started the entire meta for the node sales and stuff like that. Even though a lot of people failed afterwards, and so for me, I'm a grumpy old fucker. And, would I consider myself a degen Chad in like crypto? No. I think you guys are all fucking degens and I'm going to fucking eliminate you guys eventually. But in the meantime, you know, uh, having a Chad partner like these guys. And so like they're playing not the Web3 game entirely. They're playing the greater kind of crypto game, which they're good at. And so like I'm not here to like kind of criticize what they do because they're good at what they do. But in terms of like the marketing and as what Peyton said, like yeah, there's some hyperbole here, there's some kind of like on the edge here and stuff like that. But I have faith with them in terms of like what they're trying to do for crafting the narrative and their next move. And obviously I know their marketing team very well. We work with them and they're fantastic. So again, as a product, like what's my view on it? Slightly, yeah, a little lukewarm. It's an API. I get it. Like, are these the kind of players I want to have on my network as well, even if we acquire them? I don't know. Like, do I want entitled players who are just going to expect a reward for every time they play? Not really. But in terms of the overall like ecosystem and where they're headed and keeping attention and stuff like that, fuck man, we've all said it. Sobe's a Chad, and this is a Chad move.
Got to add Big EJ to the list. EJ, Salt Lake City local with me and Jerry. Great dude. Got a chance to have dinner with him, and yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the way that they see the game is a step above a lot of other teams. With that being said, who knows what the results of this one will be, but I think it's cool. Let's go over to Peyton. Actually has the hand back up. Let's go back to Peyton, then we'll tag in Big Spangler.
I was gonna answer your specific direct question about the like Web 2 and like their specific ones. I have a hard time with this. I think that like Web 2 gamers, and this is just a hunch, I do think that Web 2 gamers care about identity a lot, especially with their specific things. I don't think the way to get those specific gamers in terms of like their identity being put on chain is through like a monetizable way, right? Like if it's incentive structure, like incentives, I think we miss the plot and we miss an opportunity. I think if there's somebody that could do it, and this takes innovation, right? But if somebody could put like their identity on chain in which that it gets them what they want, which is discounts on games, game codes to get pre-access, any of those specific ones that gamers actually care about for escapism, I think there's like something there, but I don't think we can lead with incentives if we want like the Web 2 specific gamer to come in and play our games, like what Parallel is currently doing right now, right? Like Koji says, like there's no one like they're being like paid for like the HyperX arena, like they want to be there. And like that's like where we want to get to. But I don't think we can like lead very heavily with like, oh, come get here and get your $25 gift card. Do I think it will work? Absolutely. Do you know like 15-year-old Peyton would freaking go on Turtle Beach headset specific things all the time and try to get it. And it was like freaking $30. I was like, you're telling me that I'm gonna get like $25 for a Steam gift card to freaking buy Power World server for Lems to grind for 24/7? Yeah, 100% I will.
The unlock here might be rewarding people for experiences that are similar enough to a Web3 comparison. And by that, what I mean is, Genshin Impact, whenever they released, I forget what the name is of the studio behind that, but they released Honkai Star Rail. And they basically said, look, guys, it's Genshin Impact again, but like different in these four ways or whatever. We're going to give you guys rewards for going in and playing that game. And, a lot of the concern was, well, aren't you vampire attacking your own game? Because if you just move somebody from Genshin Impact, which is already making you money, to another product, which will also make you money and probably not that much more because it's essentially the same product, did you really accomplish anything or did you just vampire attack your own product? But in this case, Zai doesn't have that problem. So if Zai says, oh, well, there's a Steam game that's actually pretty similar to the user cohort that would love Meiji, why don't we vampire attack that in particular, get them to experience this game for the first time, and then hopefully we're able to retain them because they really enjoy the experience. That's where I think this whole thing just unlocks into an insane flywheel if they're able to accomplish it. I want to go to Spangler, then to Koji.
No, I think that that's a super fascinating point, and Peyton brings up something really interesting with this idea of identity, and I think that you know as far like I think something like this has come up a few times. I think Doug said people have been doing it since 2022, and that's because there is something to this idea of rewarding people for their achievements and having people's identities displayed and rewarded for completing tasks. Like that's I think is one of the most fundamental use cases for Web3 gaming as a whole. But it needs to tie into something grander. It needs to tie in to some kind of social scene, some kind of platform. And I think they're on the right path with, like, imagine if this was happening within the Steam platform, that would be huge. People would go nuts over that, but that's just not where it's happening. I struggle to see this as more of a community, to see this as anything more than a community activation at the moment, because you're only really going to be activate the people who are already on Zion, already using these platforms. But I think that it does pave the way to some kind of grander identity, which is really exciting, and allowing players to interact with each other, see how they're progressing, encouraging them to play new games. But yeah, I think I'd have to agree with Koji. I think the big winner here is the Web 2 games that people want to play to earn more bank.
Koji, do you agree?
I mean, I don't know if the details of how this is going to work is out there, but like incentive based rewards have for like retention or acquisition have been out there forever. I mean, you just look at like your favorite gambling website or something, right? It's just like, okay, you put $10 in, we'll give you like $50 worth of like bets that you can make, but you have to make X amount of bets before you can take it out. Like, what if it was such that like Zai was like, okay, you know for people who have all these like achievements, they get like this giant reward pool, but they have to play X amount of games in order to unlock that reward pool. They'd be like, maybe maybe it's actual genius, and it's like, okay, we're dangling a huge carrot in front of these guys, but they have to jump through the hoops that we set out in order to get it. Like that makes a lot of sense to me. So I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily count this out. Like whether or not it's going to make waves in the Web 2 world really depends on how many Web 2 gamers you can get in there and how long you have this thing going for. Because what you really need is like the ripple word of mouth effect where it's like, yo, we both played this game together. I unlocked all this shit, and then I went into this like other game, and they gave me a whole bunch of money. Like you should try and play it for a few hours too, or whatever. It's possible. I also just want to say I put up my hand because Sobi really is like one of the greatest crypto unicorns of all time. I put him up. The top three for me are like Sobi, Sinjin, Doug Hype in no order, in no specific order. It's just like whenever I see those guys, I I I will never mistake any of them for anybody else, right? Like you see them walking down the street, you're like, that's the guy. And for whatever reason, brand recognition is important. So I give Sobi Chad points no matter what.
All right, a little bit off the rails, but I don't hate it. Peyton, over to you for the last word. Then we're picking the MVP of the show.
Yeah, I was just gonna like, just echo what Koji said. Like Axie Infinity was that, right? Lars Duche had a huge article about this in terms of like as Axie Infinity is above minimum wage for the Philippines and incentive structure is actually there, that thing spread like wildfire. All across the Philippines. Like we went to Manila and like Icy did this thing is like, hey, have you heard of Axie Infinity? Yes, I've heard of Axie Infinity, never played it. Right? Like that thing spread like wildfire because it was probably so entrenched in that culture of like, dude, I am getting literally I'm making more money here than I am like at construction. Freaking let's play Axie Infinity. I need to get a scholarship, right? Like those type of things. Like I think to Koji's point, that like what our whole industry was based off of, which is pretty much Axie Infinity. Like it started with an idea like what Koji just mentioned and what I think Zai is doing. Again, I didn't read it, so I shouldn't even say it. But yeah.
Peyton, not doing your studying. It's okay. I'll forgive you. I'm going to pick my MVP of the episode. My MVP of the episode is fucking Yap. Yap has been crushing the comments. Appreciate your support, brother. He has another great one that is a little bit too long for me to read on the current discussion if you guys want to check it out. But Yap is going to win that grid node. Big shout out again to the grid guys. They've been awesome with this giveaway. Appreciate you guys, Justin Lucas and the team there. We're going to move on to the MVP, which means, Peyton, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's your MVP of the panel today?
I would say, man, what do I do? Should I like give it to Jerry to boost his stats, or should I give it to Cody?
Boo.
Just to like really cement his run here. I'm actually gonna give it to Sinjin. I'll give it to Sinjin because he led with like, oh yeah, I'm pretty much drunk to celebrate this, and it was probably the most coherent I've ever heard Sinjin on this panel. And so yeah, I'll give the MVP to Sinjin. And also, yeah, send your soul address to Wolvesdow Twitter, please.
Oh wow, double the MVP rewards for the kid. Yeah, send me your ETH wallet and your email address, and I'll be able to hook you up with that grid. Sinjin, the Sinjin flu game. That's what we just witnessed. Sinjin, who's your MVP of the episode?
Yeah, it's got to be Koji just because he's always consistent and he cuts and he's so he's just so fucking witty. I think Koji, you're the coolest motherfucker in Web3. That hands fucking down. So, anyways, but Jerry, good try. You're getting there. You will eventually get there. Like one day, you may win a raid boss against me if we ever have that kind of thing ever again.
Jerry did the worst thing you can ever do whenever you're trying to win a popularity contest, which is ask for votes because nobody likes to see somebody who knows they're popular ask to be considered to be more popular. Jerry, I don't think you're winning MVPs for months to come. Koji, who's your pick, buddy?
I mean, I'm gonna go Sinjin for the same reason. You know, we've heard shows prior where he's potentially fallen asleep or things have happened, but like, and when he said he was drunk in the beginning, I was like, oh boy. But he brought not only did he like was he coherent or whatever, like that's the standard, but like he was like on top of it with the topics and like really put some people in his place. So I got to give him the MVP.
The man was locked in. Matthew Buxton, who you got?
Well, I'm tempted to go for Sobe because I've never met the guy, but he sounds like better than all of us put together. And despite doing possibly the dumbest advertising, everyone still loves the guy and says he's an OG. But since Sobe isn't on the panel, I was going to go for Jonah because he actually contained himself and didn't destroy the universe again. But he's not on the panel, so I'm going to go with Sinjin because despite being drunk and battered, he's still on the panel at the end of the show. And what more can you ask for than that level of dedication and hardcoreness?
That's the trickle down economy at work right there. The third place, but still got first. Yeah, shout out to Jonah. He did keep it locked down, man. I would have that version of him on the show like all the time. It's
100%. I was
just
gonna.
the manic version that's a little bit stressful, you know. Let's go over to Jerry. Let's see what Jerry who you're picking, buddy.
Yeah, I there's collusion. We are stopping the steal, Koji. These people are bringing me down. Um, I'm gonna go, and in honor of that, I'm gonna go with Matthew Buxton. I thought he brought the heat. Shout out communism.
That was a wild. Y'all gotta be careful. Damn, y'all gotta be careful. Let's go. Is Dub still on the panel? Dub, I know you were only here for the second half, so I'll give you half a vote. Dub, who's your pick?
Oh, fuck you, dude. Half a vote. What the hell? Spangler definitely takes it, even though I was here for half a thing. Like, even if Sinjin was drunk, he's always fucking drunk. Koji brought the same complaints that he brought, week after week after week. Jerry's the fucking same. And, Peyton and Limbs couldn't not talk over each other. And Buxton, I love you, buddy. But Spangler, you brought something fresh and that I really liked, and that was supporting my take. So keep at it, buddy.
Wills, or Dub chose violence. Wills, who you got?
Let's go, boys! Vote by default. I'm gonna have to go with Matthew Buxton because he kept putting his hand up so quick and stealing my phenomenal takes. Very very wise, very funny. Love the stuff, Matt.
Let's be clear, Spang. Half a vote by default. Okay, let's get it straight.
Half a vote by default.
Lems, who you got?
Oh man, I can't believe no one said the curator of canines. Like you got to give it to Peyton. It's been too long since we had you on, big dog, and you got to come back on the show more. So I'm gonna try and bribe you back with a little MVP voting, and I will continue to talk over you in future episodes.
This is the
any other way.
This is the pandering we do like on the show. Got to bring the patron of pooches back. Koji, last but not least, who's your pick, bud?
I was that. You already did me. Hey, say hi, Tony.
Hi,
Yeah, you already did me, man.
Papa.
Oh, Lambs, the list is killing me, dog. The list is killing.
Yeah, I fumbled on writing it down. Who did you vote for, Koji?
Like the.
I voted for Sinjin.
Okay, well that's it then. We got it.
The Titan of Taboo, the founder who cannot be bought. It's the man, the myth, the legend behind the Meiji. Sinjin, congratulations on your MVP. What do you want to plug, bud?
I'll be at GDC, and I know the Wolves Den will be at GDC again this year. And I think that if you can make it out of San Fran or SF, sorry, please do. And we'll love to see you. And there's a lot of this space is very transactional. It's very like my bags, your bags, whatever bullshit like this. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's not the friends we make along the way, but it's really about what we give to one another. Um, and that's when you share, and that's when you come together and really get shit done. To be honest, like, do I think a lot of Web3 things is kind of bullshit? Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I'm like, learning this playbook, whatever like that. But what's not bullshit is, the intent, the desire, the passion here up at this panel, but all in Web3. I love Jonah. I think he always has great taste. He's overly passionate at times, but I mean, that's, his character. And everyone else on this panel, you come out and you do it. And then so, for me, I want to be out here. Thank you, Sam, for giving me the chance to be on it. Whereas, I think most people would kick me off after the first or second panel. And yes, I'm drunk, I'm hungover, and I'm hurting. And so I think just like drunk driving back in the day, not that I do that anymore, you kind of concentrate more when you're driving drunk and drive slowly and carefully. So I think that's what happened here. I haven't done it since the 90s, so don't judge me. It was kind of common back then. But anyways, I love you guys and hope to see you guys at GDC.
Dude, that was wild. We
Oh,
love you, Sinjin. We love
Ginger,
you.
you gonna be on the grill this GDC?
Oh,
Yeah,
my
we're
guy's
gonna
working the
smash
grill.
that grill, bro.
Hey,
We're
bro.
gonna we're gonna smash it.
So, Sobi's in the audience, bro. Sobi, you should probably rename your chain to freaking Krispy Kreme because you got freaking glazed, bro.
Yeah, so Sophie was collecting those compliments like they were Pokemon. Rewind the tape a little bit if you need a little ego boost, big guy. We're gonna we're gonna wrap up today's show, but since Sinjin was having a hard time pumping his own bags, I'll say Meiji trying to revolutionize on-chain casino gaming, and I think it's gonna be really really fucking cool. We've been getting sneak peeks for like 2.5 years now. He's not rushing anything out because he knows what he has, and I think that's the most potent bull signal you can ever imagine. Not financial advice, but very excited to see you guys do some amazing things this year and beyond, brother. Thank you also for just being one of the most steadfast, devout, faithful members of the Church of Gamified. I'll never forget it, dude. And as we chill out on this captivating conversation, let's give a frosty farewell to the flurry of and a flurry of gratitude to our friends at Avalanche. They're the cool cats of the crypto sphere, the pioneers of the permafrost, and the official blockchain of Gamified. Don't be left shivering in the cold. Join Solo Leveling, T1 Esports, Off the Grid, and the California DMV, by the way, and so many others, and making your very own L1 blockchain to your own specifications. Thanks to Avalanche, the official chain of Gamified. And I'm calling all cosmic crusaders and spacefaring scoundrels. Star Atlas is about to ignite the gaming galaxy with a pulse-pounding space race where your velocity and valor are your keys to victory. Master the maneuvers of magnificent spaceships, mine marvelous minerals, and build an empire that spans the stars. Join the Discord, get your game key, and play the preseason to prepare for a year of stellar surprises in 2025 with the official game of Gamified. And Game 7, right after their TGE, they're flipping the script on traditional gaming grinds. Forget those greedy gatekeepers hoarding all the loot. Game 7 is putting their gold where their game is, ensuring 80% of the revenue goes straight back to the players. With over 150 games already on board, Game 7 isn't just pressing continue, they're shattering the record book and respawning us into a brighter gaming future. So grab your gamepads and get ready to conquer the next era of gaming with Game 7 and get into touch with the official infrastructure of Gamified. Guys, it's been a super, super fun episode. Again, I didn't want to lean in too much to the technically being 2 years of episodes because we kind of did that with episode 100. I wrote a way, way, way too long thread that just aggrandized my own ego. But this was exactly what I love Gamified to be. It was a bunch of us sharing our unique opinions. Some were a little spicy, some we agreed too much, but all along the way, we got to see everybody's character and just celebrate each other in what we're here trying to build, whether it takes 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. If I can keep commiserating with you guys, having a good time, doing some thought experiments, pushing ourselves to hopefully build better things, then dude, I'll be here for however long it takes, as long as you guys keep showing up. So thank you to my amazing panelists. Another shout out to the Grid Node guys. Thanks for that, and thanks to all the amazing people in the audience that retweeted the space, dropped a bunch of comments. It was a super active show today. So I just have a tremendous amount of gratitude. Sinjin, Koji, Matthew Buxton, Lems, Jerry, Big Dub, and Mr. Spangler. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you back here, same time, same place next week. And don't forget to join us at the Parallel World Championships at the end of the month. That shit's going to be awesome. Speaking of Web3 gaming, taking the next step. We'll see you guys there.